So up to this point, you've heard the three steps: open, deliver, and follow up. And I just wanted to give you some framework around it, some context, and some nuances. So these three steps are, by the way, you probably want to meet Moses here. He's just hanging out with me this morning, eating some breakfast. Um, so the three steps are something that you're going to be able to use all the time. And you can make five-star experiences for your significant other many times a day. So I recommend at least three, and sometimes it takes some planning. I've mentioned before, this only takes a very short period of time. Usually a five-star experience can be 30 seconds or 2 minutes long or 5 minutes long. And it's really like a whole bunch of mine, for example, have been changing poopy diapers. So Moses here makes a lot of poopy diapers, and I love to change poopy diapers. Not because I inherently love to change poopy diapers, because Peach, my wife, is just like hates it for some reason. It's like this terrible thing for her. And I guess she has a high sense of smell. She has the super smeller. And so for me, it's like, it's this easy thing. It's like, oh my goodness, like that will take me like a minute and a half. That will take me 2 minutes. And I can just do this little tiny thing and it's going to be a five-star experience for you. Great. So there's the open step, right? And deliver is like changing the diaper. Are you loving not changing this poopy diaper? And she's like, yeah, this is great. And um, and then the follow up, like, hey, did you like how I changed that poopy diaper? And she's like, yeah, that was wonderful to not have to do that. And to me, it's like unbelievable that such a small thing, this little tiny thing in the day, is a five-star experience for her. It's like how does that add up? I just don't, you know. But each person's five-star experiences are different. And what this does is it does several things. One of them is it generates gratitude for the other person. So when you just go about doing nice things for the other person and you don't talk about it, and you don't establish, you don't find out whether or not that is really a five-star experience for them or not, then it just can just blend in. It may not even register as a five-star experience. You might be doing the exact same things, and it may not count for anything, right? And when I say count for anything, what is so important is that it counts in the emotional bank account or the emotional books of the other person, of your significant other. So you want this to count. You want them to be like, oh, my husband loves me, or oh, my girlfriend loves me, or whatever it is. Like, oh, um, like, got that down. Like you want them to make a mental note of it, and then you want to come back to it, and you want them to understand that you love them. That's the whole thing. You want to show them in as many ways you can that you love them. And there's no ulterior motives. There's no, I'm doing this so that I can get this. It's not a trade. It's not a transaction. It's just I want to show the other person that I love them. I want to have a five-star relationship with my significant other because I love them, right? And then when you have a five-star relationship, everything is better. Everything is better. They want to cooperate more. Communication is more productive. They're more grateful for you. Um, in other, I'll talk about intimacy later, but I've seen examples where one of the partners was always the one asking for physical intimacy. It was like, hey, can we, do something tonight? And she was like, I'm not really feeling it. Like I'm tired tonight, right? And that was it was consistently the man who was asking. And then after they started using this approach, um, it became the woman who was often asking, like, "Hey, do you have time to, do something tonight?" And it was a switch. So he was still, interested, and he was still asking sometimes, but it became primarily her that was asking. And so if you can imagine, if you're the one that's always asking, and the other person's like, "Oh man, do we have to do that again?" Then this approach could help you because they become more interested in certain things. And all you're doing is using the three steps: open, deliver, follow up. Like, oh, well, what would be nice for you? Those 3 steps. So another thing that it does for the relationship is, we talked about gratitude. We talked about, so there's also the law of reciprocity. So when you're doing so many things for the other person and you're not expecting anything out of it, probably things will come sooner or later. And you kind of know that in the back of your mind. However, you're not doing that trade. And because of all this, the other person's like, wow, like, I feel loved. Like, this is the law of reciprocity is just, it's a psychological thing. It's like, but really it's a human thing. And when someone's doing nice things for you, all the time, you're like, man, that person's awesome. Like, I like hanging out with that person. I really love this person. And, bit by bit, those feelings develop and they grow. And sooner or later, the person's like, I want to do something nice for this other person. They're like, hey, you're always asking me what would be a 5-star experience. What would be a 5-star experience for you today? And they start asking you. And they may not follow the 3 steps. They may not do it exactly right or whatever. However, what happens is they start reciprocating. And that's just a natural thing. I don't know why humans do that. They do it. So it's part of the 5-star, it's part of the benefits and the results, the byproducts of the 5-star approach. Another thing that starts happening is that when you go through these 3 steps, you're generating gratitude, you've got the law of reciprocity. You actually, because you're investing so much in this, you feel more drawn to that person. You feel more love, you feel more interest, you feel more empathy, and that person will typically become more attractive to you. Thank you, Moses. Are you all done? Thank you. I'll get you some more in a minute. So I have noted that my wife has become more attractive to me, and others have told me the same as they've gone through this process. They're like, I'm like, well, what changed for you guys? And they're like, well, actually, like, she became more attractive to me. And they say the other way too. Like, actually, he became more attractive to me too. Like, who knows why that happened? I don't know why that happens. I assume it's just because you're investing and you're serving and you're seeing that person how in their true light. And I really believe that this makes us better people. And so we're like, oh, like, that person, like, it makes you better as you're doing the approach, and it makes your significant other feel better about themselves and about you, and everyone's happier. So it's like, it's easier to be attracted to a happier person, right? So I'll tell you lots of other things that have that typically come about through using the 3 steps in other videos, but those are some of the basic ones that you can expect. And then when it's all said and done, you're going to be asking every week or so. I recommend every week. You're asking honest, I've been working on this. I've been working on a relationship. I really care about it. You're asking, on a 5-star scale, how would you rate our relationship? And so that's the major metric, right, that you're trying to improve. You start at 2, you start at 3, whatever. I started at 3 with my wife, Peach, and we got to 5. And on the day that it got to 5, that she said, 5, yeah. Like, she had given this so much thought. I'd asked her so many times before, and I'd been kind of slowly bumping it up. And when it got to 5, it was like, oh, really? Like, it was so exciting. And it's so much easier to have a 5-star relationship because you trust each other. You're not arguing. You're not avoiding. Like, it becomes this wonderful part of your life. And everything else in life is easier when you have a 5-star relationship with your significant other. So you can do it. I've done it, and I'm socially as dumb as they come. And so if I can do it, you can do it.